from Microbe TV. This is Office Hours for Wednesday, the 27th of August, 2025. I'm Vincent Racaniello, and welcome to your viral corner of the internet, where you can talk about viruses and many other things as well. Not all science, because here, no question is a bad question. Welcome, everybody. I want to welcome our moderators tonight. I wanted to wear this hat to start, but it's no good. It doesn't work. However, I still want to show you. It's a Microbe TV hat. See, you can't see my eyes when I'm wearing it. Microbe TV cast member. It's cool, right? You can get it at cafepress.com/twiv. I guess I could wear it the other way, right? But then you can't see the brand, so I won't wear it at all. Thank you for coming and moderating. Vanity Nutrition, Les Fabi, Tom Steinberg. Who else is here? Anyone else? Thank you for moderating and keeping the riffraff out. The riffraff being people who don't listen to science. That's all it takes. If you say measles and install showed semi-conservative DNA replication, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't like that you don't know what you're talking about part. You could be civilized, but that would be okay. Disagreeing over science, no problem there. Okay, what's up for tonight? Can I make my screen brighter? No, I don't want to do that because the screen light is bluish. It reflects in my glasses, and it would negate the lovely big light that I have up here spewing daylight on me. Okay. So yeah, you can't, I can't make the screen brighter. I go to big ends. You could sort of see it, the screen there, a little bit blue when I shade myself from the other light, right? But this, yeah, I would have to have a light coming up here, and I'm not going to do that. Anyway, it's a cool hat. I designed it a couple of years ago, and nobody ever bought one. It says, what does it say? Cast member. There's also one that says crew member. The cast, they're supposed to be the podcasters, right? But you could have one. And if someone says, are you part of the show? You could say, yeah, I am part of the show. Anyway, welcome to our moderators. And also, thank you everyone for coming tonight. Hit the like button right now. What's on for tonight? We have some news. I have a quiz for you. I have a leftover Jeopardy stack from TWIV 1000, and I thought it would be fun to have you guys answer the questions. We can't do the numbers and the dollars and all that stuff, but I can see it's got mostly TWIV and one stack on parasites. Let's see how you do, okay? That'll be fun to do. And then we have a mini lecture. Turns out I never gave a mini lecture on attachment and entry, right? Or if I did, it was ages ago, and I don't remember it, and neither will you. So we will do that tonight. And of course, your questions always. Let's see. Tell us where you're from. I want to shout you out and get an idea of where we stand in terms of the world listening in. So it is an interesting story that Les is talking about. He has a close friend who was hospitalized with COVID, followed by bacterial pneumonia. Got the vaccine 11 months ago. I don't know if the outcome would have been any different if the vaccine was 3 months ago, because, in your 80s, like Paul often says, any infection can send you into the hospital no matter what. But here's the thing. His doctor told his wife he would only give her Paxlovid if she got real sick. It's too late. You can't wait. You cannot wait. First test positive, you give Paxlovid, especially in an 80-something. November 2022, I got COVID. I got SARS-CoV-2 infection at a public health convention in Seattle. Good. I wasn't wearing a mask back then. So my first symptoms were Saturday. I called Daniel. I said, I'm kind of curious to see what happens. He said, nope, you're taking Paxlovid. And the symptoms were gone by the next day. I mean, at the time, I was 70, right? So, was I 70? Last year, I was 71, 23. I was 69. I'm healthy. They told me I had to take it. So, got to take it early on. Pete says he saw a video on James Dyson, the vacuum fame, vertical farming project. He's one of the UK's biggest landowners. There was a brief edit flash of the cover of Dixon Despommiers' book. Cool. That's very cool. Will is in Changsha where it's flipping hot, 40°C. What is it here? Not very hot. It's very mild these days, but it is sunny. For a nice walk today around Chelsea. Where's the weather? Here we go. In New Jersey now, it's 20°C, 68 degrees F, and clear. Really nice. It's jacket weather for sure. Jacket weather. Kang is in Chicago, 24°C and cloudy skies. Pete says, I don't have any questions tonight. I'll have questions for you. And you better answer them. Come on, you got to participate. This is going to be fun. John is in the Twin Cities, 74th, 23. Welcome, Patricia. 8 p.m. in D.C. Bang your pots really loudly. Vanity is up for her weekly dose of sanity, hanging out with great people. Thank you for coming again. We appreciate it. Vanity says, do you see, RFK Jr. said they're on track to reveal the interventions that are definitely causing autism. He's a buffoon. Did you hear, who was my guest on Friday? Oh my God, I can't remember his name. Anyway, he called them idiots, know-nothings, jerks. Stanley Plotkin. So I love older people are so blunt. They don't pull any punches, right? Because they figure, I got nothing to lose. So he's just full of crap. He's lying. He's a liar left and right. And he makes you think, or makes other people that are here think that he sounds like he knows what he's talking about, but doesn't know anything. And he asked the journal to retract the paper. That's one of our news items tonight. I'll get into that in a bit. So Patricia says, the main question is if those of us younger than 65 can get any of the 3 vaccines, not just the mRNA ones. You're going to be able to get COVID vaccines. Oh, under 65. So I guess, I don't know, Daniel says if your physician writes you a script, it's all about whether the insurance pays for it, right? Because you can get it, but you don't want to pay out of pocket. I understand. But Daniel says if your doc writes a script, they have to fill it. Privyet, Veronika. Welcome. I see some action is happening at the CDC right now. Yeah, I heard that. It's really sad. Yeah, Paxlovid, some doctors are in the dark ages. Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. All the societies tell you Paxlovid must be given within X days of test positive. You do not wait for the infection to get serious. Daniel has told so many stories that people are about to die because the physician said, let's wait and see. And if they're that sick and they're in a hospital in the ICU, the Paxlovid is not going to help. Elizabeth is in West Virginia, 1720C. Sorry about that. Kang wants to know, how do we motivate people to vaccinate other than Dr. Offit's prediction that it will take thousands of vaccine-preventable deaths for survivors to learn a lesson? show pictures of iron lungs. I think what someone mentioned here last time is that you tell personal stories. I almost died of COVID, or my ex-family member died of measles and hadn't been vaccinated. Personal stories, because a death is a tragedy, but 1,000,000 deaths or 1,000 deaths is a statistic. And people who have a certain viewpoint don't respond to numbers like that. They really don't care. So how do you do that? It's a grassroots thing. Everyone has to get out there and tell stories. Or, as I said, we'll record your story and broadcast them. Someone was here a couple of weeks ago, and she had known someone who died of some vaccine-preventable disease. And I said, can I get your story? But she didn't answer. So I understand that people want to be private. Abdul Rahman, hello in Manhattan, where I just left. And the trains ran properly tonight. They don't often. The U.S. is an embarrassment when it comes to trains. They're touting this new Acela train that's going to go faster. It's such a joke compared to the trains in Japan and China, how fast they can go. And, of course, the rest of the country, forget it. Tona is in breezy Long Island with a sliver of the moon. It is a nice hat, and I wish a lot of people would wear them, because then people would go, what is that? And you could tell them it's a cool science channel. Go check it out. But that's the way it goes. Betty Kay in Washington Heights. Hello and welcome from my old stomping grounds, although I go there occasionally still to teach. Leo is at the Mendocino on the Northern California coast, 13C. Come for the chat, stay for the science. Mike and Lori are in Burien, Washington, 25C. In Moscow, it is 10C. Jan is in Tucson, overcast. Wow, 33C, pretty hot. Lise is in Columbus. Feels like fall. Carol, our favorite nephrologist, Bakersfield, California, 37C, the temperature of the incubator that we use to grow cells and then infect them with viruses and get new virus stocks or do experiments. 37C. That's it. 98.6. Julie's in Pennsylvania. We're at 68F. Kevin is in San Francisco. 60, or Santa Fe. I don't know. San Francisco, Santa Fe, right? 69. Michelozzo Michelizzi. Welcome. I got to get my hat. I wear mine backwards when I teach tennis in Gainesville. 300 Club Swim and Tennis. Cool. That's cool. Let's see you walking away. And they'll go, oh, teacher, what is this microbe TV? Kevin says there are mass resignations at CDC. Their letters are striking. I haven't seen this. Today I was immersed in finishing the antivirals chapter revisions for the textbook. We're having a meeting tomorrow in Princeton to talk about that. And also getting things together for this live stream. Contrary to what you may think, I actually prepare for it. I line stuff up. I don't have a script because I don't need a script. A script, not a script, a script. Because I can look at something and start talking and forever, as you know. So I didn't see the news today. Also booked my trip to Greece next month. I already had my flight, but I had to book a train, a couple of trains, and a couple of other things. It's cool. Krishnan is in Malaysia. Please visit Borneo if you are coming. I would love to come to that part of the world. I think it could be in the cards next year. I have people in a couple of places that I could visit, Singapore and Cambodia. Always wanted to visit Vietnam. So I could Go to Borneo, too. I hear it's cool. EHS Talent loved the episode with Stanley Plotkin. I think he was very good. We obviously could have gone on longer. There were multiple occasions where he said, I could tell you more about that. And I should have let him tell me more about that. I was just afraid to keep him a long time, right? But he seemed to be okay. Oh, from Chicago, Logotic, where it's 22C. Vincent looks even more like a DJ when he wears the hat backwards. I never wear hats really. And if I do, I wouldn't wear them backwards because I don't think it's me. What do you do with this? Where is it? This thing here, this thing sticking out. I guess you cut it off if you're cool. And then you got the funny hair sticking through. I guess I'd have to push the hair up, right? And just get forehead. Yeah, there we go. But there's no, I think this looks really funny, this forehead. They have hats with a close there, a closing, right? Anyway, thank you. I like DJs very much. I admire their work very much. And Michelozzo is in Gainesville where it's 29C. Well, 37 is the record so far, 37C. I mean, even KSA, where Abdul Aziz is only 30C. That's another part of the world that I need to visit. These are my bucket lists to do, right? Time is running out when I am able, right? I can still do things. And I want to do a lot of things. Yes, prayers to the children in Minnesota at the Catholic school that was shot up today. Yet still, the Republicans do not want to have gun control. Carol writes, Stanley Plotkin is so impressive, still mentally sharp at 39 years young. Very. And opinionated. I loved it. Yep. SRR, thank you for your support of science communication. We really appreciate it. We just keep doing the science, and we depend on your support to do it. So thank you so much. I give you the cute half love sign, right? Tona is ready for a quiz show. Okay. Kaylee Couture. That's a great name, Couture, right? The fashion. Buffalo, New York. Rima and Luna from 2 countries. And I know what your name is. Oh, you just said it. Paul is in Longmont, Colorado, 24C. Thanks for the microbe TVT. It's pretty cool. Yes, so we're shipping out stuff to people who support us, which is all backed up because I haven't done it for a long time. So it's our way of thanking you. Karen, I feel like this madness won't end until many thousands or tens of thousands of people die unnecessarily because of COVID, measles, and other preventable illnesses. One would like if that did not have to happen, right? In order for us to reverse this madness, because that's what it is. People who don't know what they're talking about and who are mean, bloody mean, right? Let me show you something. As you know, some big U.S. aid programs were canceled right at the beginning of the Trump administration. The USAID, U.S. Agency for International Development, billions of dollars used to support many programs overseas, including AIDS, testing, prevention, and treatment. And then there was PEPFAR, the President's Emergency Fund for AIDS Relief. I think that's it, PEPFAR, which was started by George Bush, a Republican. And that used to do specifically for AIDS treatment, prevention, and testing in many other countries that needed it. They're both mainly canceled. Now, PEPFAR has been restored, but the damage is already done. They had to let go of people. They ran out of drugs. many, many people are going to die. And over at UN AIDS, right, they did a prediction. And I want to show you this. I have to get this picture up here. This is just so sobering and points out just how inhumane this administration is. All right, where are these pictures? All right, good. This is one. I should just drop it on here, right? Yeah. Okay, so this is the number of new HIV infections from 1990 to 2024, and it's in blue. And then in orange, it's a prediction of the new infections, assuming cuts in funding continue. Okay? That's 2025 through 2029. So we're making such, I'm so sorry. We're making such good progress on bringing down the peak of infections from its peak in 96, right? 3.5 million new infections globally. We're bringing it down to 1.5 million in 2024. It's almost going to go back up to 1996 levels given these cuts. This is just horrible. And even worse, okay, let's do the deaths from HIV AIDS. So the deaths peak in 2004, right? Because you die many years after you get infected. 2 million global deaths, 2004. And look what, we're going to go back to that level and actually exceed it by 2029 if the cuts in HIV funding persist. Frankly, this is disgusting. No human should let another human die, especially if they can help. Just gave money today to the UN Rescue Fund to help people in the Ukraine because it's ridiculous that they're just dropping bombs indiscriminately and killing people over there. So in this country, we could save millions of lives. And this administration is so mean, so inhumane that they choose not to. And you can see the numbers, what's going to happen as a consequence. So, yeah, so it's madness, not just here in the U.S., it's happening elsewhere as well. Christine is in Houston. Good evening. Karen is in Southern California. Ari Ozone is in Asheville, where we've been touched by ice, 18C, and yippee for infectious jeopardy. Tona loved this Plotkin episode also. I'm glad to hear that. I wanted to get his story, right? 94, want to get his story in. Now it is there on Twiv forever. MN is outside of DC where it's nice. Outside. Michelozzo, watching you and doing my ASCP training on hematology. Hemostasis, urinalysis, clinical chemistry. Good luck. Karen is a Southern California, 84 degrees, low humidity. Molly, Hilton Head, 77 degrees. Pete, think we had our last hot summer day in London on Monday. It's pleasant now, 16C after midnight. SRR, thank you for your support of science communication, donating through YouTube to raise the algorithm. Paso Robles says hello. Lovely place, lovely wine. Here's the link for the cast member hat and other stuff as well for all the podcasts. It's all there. I did, when you add a design, it puts it on all their products. And I took out the thong because nobody's going to see it, right? The tiny underwear, you know what that is, right? G-string, thong, whatever. I took it out. I thought it was not really something we want to do. But if you want a thong with Twiv on it, hey, tell me, I'll put it back. Mandrake says, Paxlovid targets viral replication. Of course it does, Mandrake. That's why you have to take it early. And yeah, so you're saying because these people are very sick, they're having inflammation, right? And that's not going to be helped by Paxlovid. You're absolutely right. Michael Schmidt. Hello, Michael. Nice to see you. What are your thoughts on early flu A this year? A colleague just returned from India with influenza A. Thoughts on flu trends this year in the States? I don't think there's anything unusual, Michael, so far. But, it's early in the season. It's hard to know. Hard to know how to extrapolate from other countries also. We'll just have to see. But tomorrow we'll see from Daniel. We'll check the wastewater. We'll see what's happening. Maureen from Northeast Ohio, 67F. Chris says, today my Walgreens pharmacist in Oregon City told me Novavax will not be available in the U.S. anytime soon. Do you know of anyone in the U.S. who has secured this vaccine in the last few months? I do not. I don't know what anytime soon is either. Right? Could be weeks, could be months. I mean, obviously the season's coming up. We need to get vaccinated, right? Mic volume might be a little too hot. Yeah, it is a little too hot. Let's lower it a bit. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Hello, hello. Check, check. Because I tend to get excited. And yeah, so there you go. I pulled it down. Tom, my wife and I also had rapid relief from Paxlovid in 2022. It's a great drug. Karen, my very stoic sister, who never complained about any illness, said she was so sick when she got COVID. She took Paxlovid and felt so much better after her second dose. It's a great drug. And I know now it's very expensive because it's no longer subsidized. It's $1,200, I think, without insurance, and $200 something with insurance, depending on your insurance. It's a really good drug. And I don't get paid anything by Pfizer. Zero. Okay, with Daniel, I did an infomercial for them, and I did not accept payment. And neither did Daniel, because the message needed to get out, but I don't want it to be perceived that I have a conflict of interest. Mr. RFK Jr. will say I'm just a shill of Big Pharma. I'm not. I don't get any money from Big Pharma. Never did. My lab did in the 90s to make a modified polio vaccine. None of that came to me personally, and that's been long gone. Mark, thanks for doing this. I love your presentation on tunneling nanotubes, stealing mitochondria from immune cells. Speaking of immune, number 100 is going to be done on December 22nd, live at the incubator. We're going to be, giving passes to maybe 20 people. I don't know how many people we can fit in there. But there'll be an announcement soon. And if you're local, we figure local people might want to come. We'll have Brianne and Cindy, and hopefully Steph will come in. And then we're going to have a local guest immunologist who she is from NYU. And it'll be fun. It's going to be live stream, so nobody will miss it. But if you come, you could sit there and watch it in person. So December 22nd, it'll probably be around, 5 or 6 p.m. Hello from Singapore. Nice to see that Changsha is living up to the fourth furnace of China. It's very hot, yes. Here in China, azuvidine is rarely available and only for bad infections. Is that the AZT, azuvidine? Thank you, Stanley Plotkin. I have trouble remembering names these days, folks. It's not good. 24C in Charleston, South Carolina. Angry Penguin asked my doctor for Paxlovid when I had COVID, but couldn't get it. I was under 65 and healthy, but my wife did get it because she was 65. Good data from this Ontario health experiment. And Molly says, in 2022, I took Paxlovid, was sick for a month. It had been over a year since my booster. My husband got a booster 3 months before and was sick 2 days, and no Paxlovid. Yearly vaccine now. I have to say, folks, don't be scared about me You're not going to be scared, right? But don't be scared about me. Can't remember names. Science, I don't have any problem remembering science. Okay? It's just names. I always had that issue. If I didn't see or talk to a person for a while, I'd forget their name. CDC Director Dr. Susan Monarez is being ousted. She just started, right? Oh, dear. Well, they're going to shut down the CDC, I'm quite sure. It's not going to exist within a year, it's going to be gone. They're going to want to redistribute that responsibility to the states. I don't know what the logic is for that, right? Oh, they say it's corrupt and they're hiding things, blah, blah, blah. It's just a lie. It's just a lie to save more federal money so they can give tax breaks to billionaires. Sorry, I don't go for that. You don't need a tax break. Visto is in Sydney. Good day. John, I like how Stanley called out nonsense. And after finishing Aerosmith recently, it was cool to hear it was some source of inspiration for him so long ago. Me too. It's a good book. Good story. Holly, some schools in Kansas City, Kansas, are closing this week due to COVID. This is our fall surge. It's going to go down and it's going to go up in the winter again. Such weird behavior. This is the way it's been doing the past few years, but I don't get it for a respiratory virus. Kaylee came here to this safe place and to maintain my sanity after hearing what's happening at CDC. RFK Jr., real effing killer. Oh, that's really good, Kaylee. I like that. Yes, in France, too. I forgot the train à grande vitesse, TGV. It's also really fast, much faster than American trains. Yep. Hello, Jeff from Elgin 21C. Michael would wear the hat. You're a cast member, Michael. I'll bring it to ASM Microbe next year. Oh, you did answer. I'm sorry, Vincent. Vincent at microbe.tv, Julie. I'm sorry. I maligned you. Sorry. Yeah, try it again. Vincent at microbe.tv. Rita is in Southwest Idaho. We're at 78F Distant Thunder. Hans is in Ecuador, 27C. Hit the like button. Push the algorithm. Yeah, you got only about 75 and 140 people here. Hit the like button. The cabinet office holders have to be confirmed by the Senate. Can the Senate recall them if they are a disaster? I believe they can be impeached. I believe so. That's what Paul Offit said. But this Congress will never impeach a Trump appointee. Barb Mack, our moderator, is here. 13C in nighttime. It's very late, yes. This is the link for the CDC director leaving. Elizabeth wears Microbe TV shirts. I especially get good reactions from the Keep Your Politics Out of My Science shirt. Yeah, that was good. Hello, Frank from Houston 30C. Molly, I wanted to go to Greece. Was going to go to Malta and Sicily, but have to have my daughter and have to have surgery for benign brain tumor in a different place. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Can you share with us what Stanley said about the promise of a Lyme vaccine? Well, he said some are in trials, and I think we mentioned that briefly a couple of weeks ago here. I looked it up, and there are some in trial. I don't know how many, at least one in a phase 3. And so he said we should hear the results shortly. You know, the old vaccine was okay, but no one bought it, so the company discontinued it. So and maybe it wasn't as effective as it should be. I think Stanley hinted at that as well. Michelle from Philadelphia, 20C. You know, the Principles of Virology textbook team is going to be doing a 4-day retreat in Philadelphia in September. That should be fun. If there's anyone in Philly and you want to meet up one night, we can do that. Just me, because you don't want to see the others, I'm sure. Kevin writes, CDC director is fighting her dismissal as her leadership panels resign and discussed for lack of honesty or transparency by RFK. If you're heading to KSA, stop in Egypt. Yeah, I know people there as well. Rainy is in North Carolina. 69F and the first touches of dry autumnal air. Barbara, Durham, North Carolina, 19C. I turned 70 yesterday. Happy birthday, Barbara. I don't just appreciate you so much. I need to you to have the best chance of continuing to live longer. Thank you. Thank you very much. I do my best. I eat moderately, a lot of plants. I exercise 6 days a week. Okay. I go for walks whenever I can. I'm doing what I can, and yeah, I mean, not much more you can do, right? Thank you for your support, John of Science Education here on Microbe TV. Very much appreciate it. Why is the rabies vaccine used in animals is different and more immunogenic than the one used in humans? I didn't even know it was more immunogenic, but you can imagine that animals and human vaccines would be different, right? They have separate development phases, and they have separate licensures and all that. So I'm not surprised about that, but I didn't know it was more immunogenic. Right. Tom says PEPFAR was a shining example of bipartisan good work. That's absolutely true. Yep. Julie writes, just had a measles, mumps, rubella titer. I'm immune to all three. From childhood, I presume, although no records for illness or vaccine. Well, that's great. You're all set. So you can travel. Yeah, are there any vaccines that are the same for humans and animals? I don't know of any. I don't know of any. No. Mike. Hello, Mike. When or how do viruses sometimes transfer genes to the host permanently? Could it be that viral gene transfer is responsible for some evolution? Totally. Completely. Now, we know this for sure for bacteria and their viruses. When bacteria infect, they can transfer genes into the bacterium. It could be phage genes, or it could be other bacterial genes that they have picked up somewhere else. There also is some evidence for this is called horizontal gene transfer among viruses that infect animals and plants, and it definitely plays a role in evolution. So, for example, retroviruses have donated genes to humans, and those have been repurposed to do other things, facilitating evolution of the species. Yeah. If Frank says, at ASV, I met someone who was at USAID until earlier this year. Impressive person who did absolutely impressive things. Insane to see they didn't even try to keep him in the government. That's because this government, if you have talent, you're not welcome. You have to lack talent and be unqualified for your job. Just look at every person in every position who are completely unqualified for what they're doing. Leave it at that. Veronica, isn't the human vaccine inactivated? Yes, the human vaccine is inactivated. Let's look it up. Animal rabies vaccine. No, I don't want to make an appointment. So you can use in animals both inactivated and attenuated vaccines. They say the attenuated vaccine is used in some wildlife populations, but the inactivated is more common. Dogs and cats and wildlife. How will all this horrible stuff go away? You know, the problem is that the Republicans are not playing fair, right? They're trying to redistrict all the voting areas to favor Republicans being kept in Congress. So finally, the Democrats are waking up and fighting that, right? But the assumption is if there's no fixing of the elections at the 2-year mark, the House and the Senate could both turn over to Democrats, and then things could get fixed. Although remember, Trump will still have veto power over whatever they decide to do. But I think that's our best hope in 2 years that this nonsense stops, unless we have a huge outbreak, say of polio, in which case RFK's got to go, because I'm sure Trump's going to say, I don't want polio in my administration, right? Molly writes, USAID did logistics for most other aid organizations. That's right. So USAID is basically gone, and they did logistics for PEPFAR. So PEPFAR is having problems now getting started again because of the missing of USAID. So Congress restored PEPFAR, but as I said, it's so broken because of this and other things that it's not clear that what kind of future it has. Riptocomp's from Boulder, Colorado. Welcome. Christine says, I agree funding is important, but leveling the contributions from all developing nations is key to eradicate infectious disease. Why is the EU so stingy? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know much about the EU, except that I think they're going to contribute more, right? They're going to step up, just like they're stepping up for other things. Have you heard, Michelle writes, of Professor Dave Explains and Dan Wilson? Of course, we know Dan Wilson's been here on Office Hours and on TWIV, and he's coming back next Wednesday. It's going to be a live debate to refute anti-vaxxers and disinformation in Brooklyn. Very good. I'm glad to hear it. Yes, Dan Wilson, Debunk the Funk, will be here on Office Hours next Wednesday. You asked for it. And Veronica wants Michael Schmidt back. So we'll have Michael back. Maybe a virus model, even if it is polio, stamped on someone's underwear will make people cautious. Yeah. You think that would stop someone? Oh, what's that on your underwear? Ay, ay, ay. When is the debate? The 13th. Yeah. So he's going to be on next week, which is the 3rd of September. So it'll be before the debate. So you can ask him about it. Please come and ask questions of Dan. I'll have plenty to ask him if you're silent, but you're never silent, right? Barb, make and sell T-shirts. I'd wear a Microbe TV T-shirt. Hats look bad on me. Cafepress.com/twiv. They're not too expensive. What about HIV on underwear? I don't make HIV merch. Molly loves her TWIV mug. Mike writes, USAID funding cuts could lead to over 14 million additional deaths globally by 2030, including approximately 4.5 million deaths among children under 5. That's the thing. This is not fair to these kids. You know, Trump said, oh, we're getting ripped off. You know, they're taking our money. They're getting ripped off. It was a voluntary donation every year. And Congress always loved it until this Congress, which is full of inhumane people. Rita writes, top officials from the vaccine unit, zoonosis unit, and chief medical officer are resigning. Yeah, azuvidine is the first. Wait, hold on. I knew it was an RT inhibitor, but I don't know why he said they were bringing it out. I guess it was for, oh, this is interesting. Azuvidine is an RT inhibitor, yes. Yeah, China, approved in China for HIV, right, with combination therapy. Okay. You know, I was confusing it with azithromycin, AZT. But it's the same idea. The drug that got emergency approval with something like unpublished second phase clinical trial back in the days. Hans says, agreed that IPV is safest in polio-free countries, but OPV is essential to contain outbreaks, not IPV. Can they both exist? No, because OPV keeps seeding the environment with vaccine-derived polioviruses. And if you're using IPV, you're not polio-free. The virus is circulating for sure. And it's there because other countries continue to use OPV. So no, you have to use only IPV. Otherwise, you're still going to have kids paralyzed from OPV use. Frank says azuvidine is an RDRP inhibitor. And I think it was discovered looking for Hep C inhibitors. It says it's also a reverse transcriptase inhibitor. And it's been approved for emergency conditional approval for COVID in adults. So it also inhibits RDRP of SARS-CoV-2. Certainly not in the US, though. It's just China where it's been approved. Red Hen 689 just checked the Novavax website. Their updated vaccine received FDA approval today, and the company expects that the vaccine will be available this fall. So this fall, soon. Hello, Wendy from New Zealand. Welcome. What's the weather like there? Tell us. Is there any news from the South Pacific currently virologically? No, nothing big, nothing other than it is winter there and it's flu season, right? Avian flu. Well, there's certainly no avian flu in Australia. Never been there. H5N1. Arthur, if you're traveling to Greece, how do you plan to stay healthy? Well, I'm going to mask a lot. I'm going to mask on the plane, in the airport, on the train station, on the train, at the meeting. Have to do all that, yes. The only place I won't is outside and in my hotel room and when I'm eating, right? Have to be very careful, right? Elizabeth writes, Stand Up for Science has a push to try and get RFK removed. In addition to signing petitions, you can give them $3 and sign up for someone dressed as a duck to deliver rubber ducks to your state representative. That's great. Douglas is in Redondo Beach, 23C. The old Lyme vaccine is no longer manufactured. Okay. Let's see why. It caused arthritis, and there was poor uptake. So the company said it was called Limerix. Oh, it could be Limerix, Lymerix. Had poor consumer demand, so the company discontinued it. Sydney writes, at 70, you're younger than I am, but you have diseases, mild aortic regurgitation, pulmonary hypertension, right? That's probably from sleep apnea, and regular high blood pressure. I guess I'll be masking everywhere I go for the rest of my life. Not the way I want to spend my last years on Earth. Well, Sydney, outside you don't have to mask, and it's beautiful. Nature is beautiful. You could go outside and enjoy it. When you travel, you can be outside, right? And so Veronica says the same thing. Spend more time outside. Looking forward to the cat virus show. And we're putting something like that together. Okay, let's play. Let's have a quiz. Wake up, folks! So now we have 160 people. Hit the like button, and we're gonna. So back in TWIV 1000, Brian Barker put together a TWIV Jeopardy. All right, and we played it, and everyone up on the stage went through this thing here. And we got parasites, RNA viruses, DNA viruses, viral ecology, viral immunity, and TWIV trivia, right? For 2468 and $1,000. Now, it doesn't work right. I don't know why, but if I click parasites for 200, we get our first question and answer. The first person who knows, just answer, and I'll shout you out in the chat. Okay, you ready? This Drew University research fellow was awarded the Nobel Prize for discovering ivermectin. Who was it, folks? Let's see who's going to get it first. You get $200. And normally you go back to panel, but it doesn't work. So can't do it. I'm waiting. You can Google it if you want, then you'll learn it, right? Brienne is an actual Jeopardy champion. Yes, she would get all of these. So she made them up. I asked her to do it because she had the slide stack to do it with, right? Still waiting for the answer, folks. You don't know? We're going to have to put a timer on this. Campbell. So Rita says Campbell. There you go. So the Drew University is Bill Campbell, right? Okay, next question. This is a colloquial name for Ascaris lumbricoides. So we got some parasites in here. What's a colloquial name for Ascaris lumbricoides? Yeah, it's William Campbell. We got it. We're on the next question. What's the colloquial name for Ascaris lumbricoides? Not earthworm. Roundworm. Roundworm. There you go. That was Helen. Okay, next question. There's a lag here. Sorry. Vanity says some worm. You'll learn in medical school. Here we go. For $600, this nematode parasite is commonly found in undercooked pork products. Lungworm from butt. I like that. from Viruses Luna. That's great. Okay, we're on the next one. This nematode parasite is commonly found in undercooked pork products. Trichinella. But Vanity got trichinosis, but the worm is trichinella. There you go, trichinella. Trichinosis. Okay, next one. Trojans, not Trojans. It's so funny. Oh, I love how you're into it, folks. This is great. Look at all the answers whipping out. Okay, enough of that one. Here's the next one. Parasites that migrate through human tissues as part of their life cycle are associated with this change in white blood cells. I don't even know this one. Oh my gosh. With change in white blood cells. Oh, I guess I could figure it out. Now, elevating, yeah. So what do you call white blood cell elevation? What's the name for that? Oh, eosinophilia could be, right? Yeah, type of white blood. So eosinophilia, that's it. Eosinophils are a type of white blood cell, right? It's eosinophilia where the number of eosinophils go down. Very good, folks. Areozone says is probably not good. That's not going to get you any credit, Areozone. And Carol says leukocytosis. I don't know what that. I've never heard that used in reference to these parasite infections. But eosinophilia, yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And then this is 1,000, so this is the last parasite, okay? This cell type is formed from a muscle cell during trichinella infection. This is one of Dixon's famous cell types. So, what is it? You got to get this one. I know what it is just because I spent so many years with Dixon, listening to him. Oh, you're right. It's high. It's elevated eosinophils. Eosinophilia is elevated. Sorry, my bad. Elevated eosinophilia. Nurse cells. Vanity Nutrition gets the nurse cell. Oh, Abdur got it also. Okay, Abdur was the first, and then Vanity. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Oh, it's RNA viruses. This should be easier for you. Antigenic variation of this virus necessitates frequent vaccine reformulations. This is a piece of cake, but it's only $200, right? So eosinophilia is a form of leukocytosis. Is that what you are saying, Michelozzo? Nurse cells. Pete Glass gets it. Nurse cells. Thank you, Michelozzo. Influenza. John gets it. Influenza. Leo. Gallbladder. Barb Mack. Flu. Mark. Angry Penguin. Viruses. Luna. Christina. Red Hen. Vanity Nutrition. Christina. Tom. Okay, that's influenza. Let's move on. RNA viruses for $400. This RNA tumor virus was the subject of the longest incubation period for a Nobel Prize. This is right out of my virology lecture. This is the statement I make every year. I guess we have about a 30-second delay between when I ask the question and answers start piling in. John, Rouse sarcoma virus. Very good, John. Going to have to get you some kind of a prize. Actually, everybody gets a prize. What is Rouse sarcoma virus? Yeah, that's the proper Jeopardy formatting, Tom. Yeah, Rouse sarcoma virus. Yep. Many people are getting that one. I'm surprised that many people are getting it, actually. I don't know why you would know that. Thingy sarcoma. Pizza's thingy sarcoma. That Patricia says that chicken thing. All right, next question. RNA viruses for $600. Amy Rosenfeld found extensive antibody cross-reactivity among members of this viral genus. It's a genus, folks. Remember, this is a little tough. Make myself a little bigger there. Enteroviruses, beautiful. John again. Holy crap, John. You're good. You're listening. We had John, we had Michelot. No, we had viruses Luna, Gallbladder 8, Frank, Vanity Nutrition, Barb Mac, Pete Glass, Tom, who is again with the proper Jeopardy formulation. What are enteroviruses? Good job, folks. Enterovirus is a genus in the picornavirus family. Okay, very good, folks. I'm very impressed. I knew we'd have fun. Next question. RNA viruses for $800. Yeah, this is an interesting one. SARS-CoV-2 variant names skipped new and this 14th Greek letter. This is a good one. I like this very much. Yeah, Tom, it takes a while to type what are, yes, but you're doing a good. No, it's not pi, John. It's XI. L. Newcomb got it first. XI. She, right? Well, she, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it in Greek. Maybe it's Xi, but it's she in another language, right? XI. And that, of course, what was the variant that they did name it? Do you remember? This is for an extra $100. They skipped Nu and Xi, and what do they call it? F. Yang got it first. Let's see. I'll scroll back. Oh, he did. Very good, Frank. Good job. Thank you, L. Newcomb. That was an actual Jeopardy question that Brienne aced, according to Les. Yes, that's correct. Yes, Omicron. L. Newcomb points out that they used Omicron to name the next one. They skipped Nu and XI. Okay, next one. RNA viruses for $1,000. This order of RNA viruses is the only whose members have a proofreading exonuclease. Don't get hung up on order. But it is above family. So if picornavirus is a family, an order would be above it. So it would have multiple families in the order. Vanity Nutrition, Nidovirales. Actually, the order would be Nidovirales. Nidoviridae, I don't think exists. Nidovirales, but you came close. That's it. Nido Frankie, Nido. What are nidoviruses? Nidovirales is the order that contains the Coronaviridae and other viruses with genome structures very much like the Coronaviridae. Very good. Many people are getting Nidovirales. Very good, Helen. Tom. All right. What's next? DNA viruses for $200. This is simple. This virus was the only human virus that has been eradicated. Yes, Helen, you're right. Arteriviridae family is another one in the Nidovirales order. Absolutely. Smallpox. John gets it, then El Newcomb, then Vanity, then Angry Penguins. Everybody's getting that. Beautiful. What is smallpox? Oh, you guys like this, don't you? Maybe we should do this once a month. I'll make up new questions every month. These are all made up by Brienne. They're good. Right. XI sounded like the Chinese president's name, and other people have the name XI too. Okay, DNA viruses for $400. Henrietta Lacks cervical tumor was caused by this virus. Yeah, I'm sorry about the lag. Some of you are seeing the question later than others, right? So that's a unfortunate aspect of streaming. I'm sorry. Yeah, there was rinderpest virus has been eradicated in cattle, but that said human virus. Here we go. Visto, human papilloma virus. Visto, Angry Penguin. Frank, viruses Luna, Luna, Mark, Ariozone, Christina, Tona, HPV. I'm sorry, Elizabeth, Les, Molly, Christina, Rita, Barb Mac, Nevitz forever. I love how the answers just whip by as you guys get into it. The comments are, this is cool. Oh, very Nika says, due to the lag, I see the answers before the question. I'm so sorry. Carol, Patricia. Oh, this is a good one from Tom. Let's put his up. Let's see if I can do that. It's too hard. Tom says, what HPV, what strain for extra points? Does anyone know what strain it was that caused Henrietta Lacks cervical tumor? So Molly guessed 2, 15 and 18, but it was actually 18. Very good, Molly. All right, next one. DNA viruses for $600. The capsid of this virus contains 240 copies of hexon protein in addition to penton and fiber. Yeah, you can Google, folks. It's fine. It's part of the learning experience to come up with the answer. If you get it right, that's a little bit of reinforcement. It's good. Nope, it's not polio. It's not CMV. Oh, Patricia, you going to bed? Nevitz forever gets adenovirus. There you go. Adenovirus. Barb Mac. Pete. Frankie knows basically nothing about DNA virus capsids. Abdur. Angry. No, not chicken gonorrhea. No. Christina. All getting it right. Rita. Nevitz did mass spec on the adenovirus proteins. Yes, so you got it right away. Okay, next one. DNA viruses for $800. T antigens encoded in some DNA virus genomes must block the function of these 2-cell proteins to ensure that cells are dividing. So there's 2-cell proteins here you have to name, and their function is blocked by T antigens. which leads to transformation and eventually cancer. So what two-cell proteins have to be blocked by T antigens to let the cells divide? Oh my God, Mark Upchurch, RB and P53. Yeah, good job. Those are the two-cell proteins that regulate cell division, and the T antigens of tumor viruses inactivate them so the cells keep dividing. Abdur got P53. Viruses Luna. Les got P53. Helen got P53. Vanity got RB. Rita wants to know, what is retinoblastoma and P53? Family fun night. Yes, David. Those are two-cell proteins that regulate progression through the cell cycle. So RB makes sure that cells don't go through mitosis unless conditions are right. It's a checkpoint inhibitor of mitosis, and the T antigens of tumor viruses overcome that, so the cells keep dividing. Now, when cells keep dividing, the T antigen, the P53 protein can sense that. It's called unscheduled DNA synthesis, and so that would stop cell cycle as well, and so the viral T antigens have to inactivate that as well. Yes, so retinoblastoma was an eye tumor in kids less than 5 years old in retinoblasts, which are not there anymore after you're 5. So it's a childhood tumor, and it is caused by deletion of the retinoblastoma gene. Yep. Okay. DNA viruses for 1,000. The mythical jackalope is none other than a rabbit with papillomas caused by continuous expression of this protein. It's a viral protein. Okay, it's not retinoblastoma. Because continuous expression, that's the viral side. It could be a little more clearly stated question. I agree. No, it's not keratin. It's a viral protein, remember. I mean, keratin is a makeup of the warts, right? And that's because the cells keep dividing. But continuous expression of this viral protein. Barb Max says E4. It's close. It's close. It's an E protein. Antilopen. Very good. Jackalope. Yeah, so jackalopes are none other than rabbits with huge warts on their faces caused by infection with papillomaviruses. Mark gets it right. E6. It's the oncogene of the papillomaviruses. It could be E6 or E7. So that works. Good job, Mark. Rita said E8, but it's E6, E7. Egads, says Tona. Egads. All right, let's go to viral ecology for $200. There's evidence of this virus infecting white-tailed deer, allowing them to be possible reservoirs of variants that could potentially be transmitted back to humans. I don't know why there's a question mark at the end. What's the virus? This is simple. You're going to get this. I know. Mixo the rabbit. SARS-CoV-2, Saj, Tom, Barb Mac, John, Pete, Gallbladder, Elizabeth, Patricia, all got SARS-CoV-2. Yes. So SARS-CoV-2 infects white-tailed deer, and the virus is in them now, and so there's a concern that they could be a reservoir, right? Deer revenge virus. It doesn't seem to make the deer very sick, though. That's the thing. All right, let's go to viral ecology for $400. Observations of dead crows and dead birds at the Bronx Zoo were critical in understanding emergence of this virus in the United States. You should get this one too. Yeah, Tom, you don't have to type what is. It's okay. You can just give the answer. West Nile gets Leo gets it. West Nile virus. That's right. Very good. Virus is Luna. West Nike. Very good. Mike, David, Airy Ozone, Les, Elizabeth, Christina, Mark, Venture, Barb Mac, Mike. Yes, John writes, reminds me of Dixon, Tona, very Nika. Helen. Okay, let's move on to another one. Viral ecology for $600. This type of bat brought Nipah virus into piggeries in 1998 in Malaysia, leading to an outbreak among pigs and humans. So speaking of Malaysia, as we were earlier, we have someone from Malaysia here. What type of bat? West of the Hudson virus. That's good. Yep, it's a fruit bat. Who was the first one to get that? Gallbladder. And viruses: Luna, Tom, Vanity, Patricia, Pete, Leo, Patricia, Airy Ozone. Vista says flying fox, which is a specific kind, which works too. Angry Penguin, Christina, Rita, Barb Mac, Helen. Viruses: Luna, Les. Okay, good job, folks. Viral ecology for $800. Observations on this virus used as biological control of European rabbit populations in Australia are often cited in discussion of changes of virulence over time. It's a virus used in Australia to control the rabbit population. Yes, Tom, I think flying fox is probably better, but I think it's okay. In a real jeopardy, it would be flying fox, I think. Because there are a lot of different kinds of fruit bats, right? And they can be much smaller. Visto, it's myxoma. Okay, not myxovirus manatee, that's influenza. Rabbit pox, myxoma, myxomatosis. Patricia, Pete. There you go. Angry Penguin gets it completely correct. Myxoma virus. There you go. MYXOMA virus. Myxoma virus. Many people are getting that now. Will, Rita, gallbladder. Now, Helen points out rabbit hemorrhagic disease. They tried that next after myxoma virus. All right. Viral ecology for $1,000. This coccolithophore forms ocean blooms visible from outer space that are collapsed by viral infection. This is from Lecture 1, What is a Virus? I love this. She just took all good stuff from the lectures. Yeah, Vanity. Close. Yeah, that's how Jeopardy works, right? This coccolithophore, it's not a virus, of course, but it is collapsed by viral infection. Not red tides, close. Not blue-green algae. What's the name of the organism? Not red tides. This one's white, actually. It's a coccolithophore. It's an interesting organism with a shell of calcium. If you Google this, you'll get it. Chemoluminescent phenomena. Hecrobia? No, not Hecrobia. It has a silicate shell. Exactly right. And the dead organisms made the White Cliffs of Dover are made of these organisms. Not diatoms. Well, maybe it's a kind of diatom. No, it's not a diatom. Micro things. Except he wrote thongs because he's thinking about the twiv thong. Emiliania huxleyi, gallbladder 8, E. hux. Yes, it's E. hux. You can see him from outer space. Emiliania huxleyi. Okay, let's move on. Next category, viral immunity for $200. This type of antibody appears first after infection or vaccination and then is replaced by IgG. I know you're going to get this one. What comes first before IgG? Dum, 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 dum. IgM, says Frank, and viruses Luna and Vanity, and Barb Mac, and Tom, Gallbladder, Mark, Christina, Patricia, Molly, IgM, Patricia, Christina, Mark, Pete, Helen, Erie Ozone. Laura says, what's IgM? It's the antibody that appears before IgG. It's made up of 5 copies of antibodies linked together because they're low affinity because they're made quickly. So they link 5 of them together to give them high avidity. Okay, next, viral immunity for $400. This molecule presents peptides to CD4 positive T cells. Which molecule presents peptides to CD4 positive T cells? MHC2, that was, so viruses Lunar said HLA, which would be okay. But Nevitz got MHC2, Christina. MHC2. Mark got MHC2. Tom said MHC of some sort. Yes. MHC2, the one that's on dendritic cells. Antigen presenting cells like dendritic cells and macrophages. Okay, next one, viral immunity for $600. This is probably the virus that Edward Jenner used to inoculate James Phipps. Yeah, Spamlet. Alio had a lot to say about E. hux. He really liked E. hux. So John says cowpox, but that's what we originally thought, right? But lately it's been changed. So a lot of people are saying cowpox, which, is historically, that's what the virus was called. But Pete Glass says cowpox / horsepox. David says horsepox. So Moopox, says Nevitz. So that's why Brienne wrote, this is probably the virus. Because we've thought for many years it was cowpox, but it looks like we don't have the virus he used, but it looks like the contemporary isolates are probably horsepox. Visto, does horsepox still exist? No, it's been eradicated, but we'd have the genome sequence, right? So we can easily recover the virus. It's been done. Okay, next question. Viral immunity for $800. This cytokine discovered by Isaacs and Lindenman induces the antiviral state and inhibits viral replication. I like these questions. I like the way they're written. What's the name of this cytokine? You're all going to get this, right? Fruit bats. Interferon, Visto. Tom. Viruses Luna. Viruses Luna. Interferons. Christina, interferon. Rainy. LSD? No, not LSD. Nevin's Forever. Interferon. Mark. Interferon. Patricia. Vanity. Airy Ozone. Barb Mac. Pete. Christina. I don't, calling someone first is dubious because of the lag. So I'm just recording what I see here first. Okay. Viral immunity for $1,000. This location in the lymph node is an important site for somatic hypermutation, affinity maturation, and memory B cell development. And we talk about this a lot on Immune. Let's see who can get that. Gallbladder 8, Germinal Center. Viruses Luna says inside. Frankie, GC, Christina, Vanity. Yep. Airy Ozone, Carol, Germinal Center. Yep. Viruses Luna deep inside it. Yeah, Frank, we still remember that Victoria paper. That was very cool. Antibody kindergarten. That's right, Visto. You remember that's what Brienne calls it. Antibody kindergarten. Yep. Yeah, these guys are good. They really know their stuff. I don't know, where did they learn it? Just by listening? Some of you listen to the lectures because a lot of this is in the lectures. Okay, we're going on to the last category is TWIV trivia. Okay, if you're a TWIV listener, it's a piece of cake for you. This was the topic of TWIV episode number 1. Gallbladder says the pianist from Brazil was good. Yeah, it's a Gabriel Victora. He's very, very good. He's at the Rockefeller now. Yeah, I like him very much. Les gets it right. West Nile virus. Barb Mac. Visto says, anything I may know, I learned from TWIV. Yeah, Aries Ozone says Dixon. That wasn't the topic, but it was West Nile virus. Helen got it. Elizabeth, Lise got it. David got it. Okay. TWIV trivia for $400. This term for a portion of an antigen that is bound by an antibody is often used on TWIV as a malapropism for episode. I should put the year in the question. Molly, you just started listening. It's okay. Now you know the answer. Yes. Epitope, Rainy, John, Barb Mac, L. Newcomb, Gallbladder, Vanity, Tom, Everybody's getting it. Look at this, Elizabeth. Visto. Virus is Luna. Patricia. Nevitz. Les. Mark. Jacoby. Airy Ozone. Pete. Patricia. Patricia's 3 for 25. You're keeping score. Lise. David. Christina, sorry. Helen. Christina. Nevitz. Visto. Everybody gets it. Frank, I felt I missed something all these times. Yeah, well, it's a long time ago. Twiv Trivia for 600. This guest joined an episode from the International Space Station. Oh, that was so cool. That was just amazing. We've done so much cool stuff. Been so fortunate. It's very cool. Mike writes, bonus points from naming the boy's mother that wrote it in. That is a great question. I don't even remember that. It was a boy's mother who wrote it in, and she said her boy asked her, what epitope are you listening to? So Astro Kate, Leo says, Kate Rubens. Ariozone says, Ruben. Rainey says, Rocket Man was a lady. What could be a Rocket Man? Barb Mack. Kate Rubens. Neil Armstrong, right. William Shatner. Elise. What episode was that? I don't remember. Kate. Let's see. Kate Rubens. 682 was from the space station, but she was also on before on 444. That was in person. We had her at ASM Microbe. Kate Rubens. Okay. Twiv Trivia for 800. For episode 200, Vincent, Rich, and Alan toured this site. This is pretty inside baseball here. There's an acronym for this site. Jean-Luc Picard, says Barb Mac. The Needle, says John Elmaker, but it's Neidl. National Emerging Infectious Diseases Laboratory. Leo, viruses, Luna. Patricia. Airy Ozone. BSL-4 somewhere. BSL-3 in Boston, says Gallbladder 8. Yes. So it was the Needle. We got to go inside of BSL-4 facility because it wasn't operational. And that was just a great experience. Helen, Barb Mack, Pete. All right, there's one more question. Excuse me. There's one more question. Are you ready? Yeah, Helen it was at Boston University. That's right. So someone whose name is in an Arabic script is way behind. Is just answered IgM. That's great. Okay, last question. Twiv Trivia for $1,000. Vincent says this tagline as the ending of each episode. This is Twiv Trivia. What's the tagline at the end? So if you don't listen to the end, you're not going to know it because most people don't listen. When the guest goes or when our discussion is over, everybody leaves. Okay, always. So Gallbladder has gone viral. El Newcomb, another episode goes viral. It's Jacoby. Another Twiv is viral. Another Twiv is viral. So you can see who listens to the end. And then the music starts. That's right. Another TWIV is viral. What do you think? So, folks, you were really good. I'm impressed. A lot of you got lots of answers. And I thought you would because you're listening and paying attention. And you're here every week. And so eventually it sinks in if you hear it over and over. Use it or lose it. That's the way it goes. It goes for everything. But thank you for doing that. I just stumbled on the slide deck today and I said, hey, it would be fun to do this because I only showed one or two of those in the first live stream after TWIV 1000. So I said, let's do this. So I'm glad you liked it. We're going to do more. We'll do once a month. I'll make up interesting questions, right? What do you win? See, you all participated. I should send you something. I'd hate to have to mail it, though. That's the problem. All right. I'm going to do a news item, one news item, which I mentioned before. And it is a Scientific American article. RFK Jr. demanded a vaccine study be retracted. The journal said no. So, as you know, we did this paper on TWIV a couple of weeks ago. It was a study out of Denmark of over 1 million kids. In Denmark, pretty much everyone gets vaccinated because it's free. So there's really, really great uptake. And so they could see, the question was, do aluminum adjuvants pose any danger? Because RFK Jr. is saying they're horrible. And I think that's what he's going to come out saying causes autism, but it's just bogus. So this study just came out, and they looked at increasing doses of alum as the kids got more and more vaccines with that adjuvant. And they looked at a variety of chronic diseases, and they found no increase in any of them. And so RFK Jr. wants the paper retracted. The Danish study, which found no link between aluminum and vaccines and chronic diseases in children. It is disgusting that he would tell this journal to retract it. So Ivan Oransky, who you know maybe from Retraction Watch, the website, said, Secretary Kennedy has demonstrated that he wants the scientific literature to bend to his will. Sorry, RFK Jr., it doesn't work that way. First of all, you don't have any control over the journals, and this is how science works. And he says, why did he want it retracted? So he published a piece in this thing, Trial Site News. He said that the methodology was flawed. Okay. So what was his problem? Let's go to the thing here. She said, among Kennedy's criticisms of the study are that the analysis excluded children who had died before the age of 2. According to Kennedy, this means the children were most likely to reveal injuries associated with aluminum exposure, and they weren't included, which of course is baloney. He also criticized the fact that he didn't compare vaccinated and unvaccinated children. Okay, and his critiques have all been answered on the same website. The researchers said they didn't use unvaccinated children because they're rare. They only had 15,000 of the 1.2 million children in the study who didn't get vaccinated, and that would be statistically imprecise to compare 15,000 with 1 million, right? You don't do that. That's why they looked at the range of aluminum. They also said they excluded children with experienced outcomes or who died before 2 to allow for the expected lag between symptom onset and diagnosis. They noted that most disorders could not reliably be diagnosed before the age of 2. So in other words, RFK Jr. wants the less than 2-year-olds to be included, but most of these chronic diseases aren't apparent at less than 2 years of age. Another example of how he doesn't know anything. Nothing. But people think he knows what he's talking about. And finally, in the supplementary data, there's an analysis showing that there was a 67% increased risk of Asperger for every 1 milligram increase in aluminum. And the authors said they didn't include it in the main findings because the data are incomplete. So this is a perfectly reasonable thing to do, and we'll do a further study to see if that's true. But you don't call for, my God, a journal to retract this. And scientists can do that. Scientists can write letters and say, this is flawed, this is flawed, this is flawed, and then maybe the journal will have it reviewed again. But none of RFK Jr.'s points are of any value whatsoever. So another nonsense statement. It's actually embarrassing, right? Let's get back to questions here. Let's see, where was I? Twiv underwear. Yeah. Twiv underwear. Any chance you will get back on Lex to voice your concerns with the administration? You know, I would do that, but I'm sure Lex is not interested. Viruses also appropriate host proteins. I'm curious how RNA viruses mechanistically acquire host proteins. Well, if you recall, Tom, the RNA tumor viruses acquire oncogenes, right? So they integrate next to an oncogene, and then aberrant transcription makes an mRNA with an oncogene in it that eventually is packaged into retroviral particles. So that is easy because it's integrated, right? I don't know about other viruses, yeah. Patricia suggests for those wanting Novavax, call your insurance and have the CPT code for it ready and ask if when it will be available. People need to flood calls to insurance companies. Yeah, a lot. I asked the CVS pharmacist today in D.C. about Novavax. He was saying they'd have it if they receive it, but unlike both Pfizer and Moderna, they will not order it. It all depends if it is sent to them. Molly was working in the ICU with many AIDS patients, and the ACT was a very big deal. I remember the movie Dallas Buyers Club. Great account of the early days of AZT and people trying to get it and they couldn't and so forth. It's actually a very good movie. Daniel Brasilia, welcome, 22 Celsius. Sir Mask a lot. I don't mask here. That would be weird, wouldn't it? Tona, I wish pharmacists were more assertive and ordered Novavax instead of passively waiting for their supplies to come to them. Walter wants to know, since polio cannot be worked on, can AI be used to simulate experiments as a bridge to when this policy changes? It's not going to change, unfortunately. And I don't know how AI could predict the outcomes of that. I don't know how it would be possible. John double masks on his trips to Thailand. 2 different planes and 18 hours. And wears gloves. Okay, now we get into the Jeopardy. Here's a question from Tana. Do you think America's crap diet impacts our microbiome and that it is associated with the increase in colorectal cancer? I'm sure the diets are affecting your microbiome, right? It's very sensitive to diet of different sorts. But I don't know about colorectal cancer. There have been some bacteria associated with colorectal cancer. We've done those studies on TWIM, but that hasn't translated into any kind of preventative yet. But that's just one bacterium, right? That beard is not going to help the effectiveness of your N95. Yeah, I know. I'm not shaving, though. I've been wearing it for a long time, and I've been okay. All right, let's skip through all these questions to get to the end. This is so great. This is a good chat history to look through as everybody gets these answers. This is a good one. Les says, the needle in Boston, another female astronaut wore a shirt back on Earth. There's too much gravity on this planet. It's good. Yeah, as Paul Offit said, everybody who lives on Earth has aluminum in them, and an aspirin has 8 milligrams of aluminum, and a vaccine has vanishingly less. So it's ridiculous to posit that aluminum in vaccines has any effect, but it doesn't. It doesn't. Hello, Grant. Has anyone compared the impact of long COVID to polio's impact? It's much less. So there is a long polio disease. It's called post-polio, right? You get polio, you're paralyzed, you do physical therapy, and maybe you can recover limb function. And then 40 years later, you get paralyzed again. It's called post-polio. It's quite rare. And now there's so few people with polio that it's even rarer. And it is a post-acute sequelae, right? But it's not comparable because of the numbers. And also, long COVID has many more symptoms and signs, right? So long polio just had one, paralysis. So it's comparable in that it's a post-acute sequelae, but it ends there. I'm in awe of your listeners. Well, you're part of them. There's some really smart people on this podcast. Yes, it's great. And I love that you're here, but there are many other people who aren't so smart that need to be listening to some of this stuff, unfortunately. Oh, this is cool. This Week in Catology, the podcast that makes you meow. Another episode is hissing. Vanity had so much fun. Hit the like button. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it all. Maybe it was such a surprise. Hi, Dorothy. So much fun, even in the grocery store. Yeah. That's cool. You're in the grocery store and you're doing the game. That's cool. Elizabeth, there's nothing that RFK Jr. says or does that isn't disgusting. This is it. Moron. Yeah, 95% morons, 5% protons, 5% neutrons, 5% electrons, 85% morons. Yes, autism doesn't show up till later in life, right? So this idea of less than 2 is ridiculous. Yes, Fisto, I was on the Lex Friedman show in 21 or 22. You can Google it. You'll find it. It's on YouTube. It's a 3.5-hour episode. I told him everything I knew about viruses. And what's funny? Before we started recording, he said, don't say that you're an expert. People don't like that. His business with not liking expertise is ridiculous. Frank worked on some polio proteins and AI failed hard. Was you trying to get the structure? or something else. Very Nika says, I think AI is too weak for the complexity of biology in many ways. AI is really good at taking a lot of data and making conclusions from it, but it's not creative. It lacks organic creativity, and that's why it can't do a lot of things like predict experimental results. Yes, fiber is one of the things you need for a healthy microbiome. Frank thinks Arthur Clarke had post-polio. I know that one of these, either he or Asimov, let's see. Yes, he did have post-polio, Arthur C. Clarke, yeah. Okay. Do you know that Isaac Asimov died of HIV? Got it from a blood transfusion. Just for clarity, Elizabeth is not related to Christina. There's also another Christina here, but not Parker. Christina is something else. Yes, not saying you're an expert. It's like telling a pilot not to tell the passengers they are qualified and experienced to fly the plane, or that your surgeon is qualified to take out your gallbladder or whatever, right? The idea of expertise being unfavored is ridiculous. It's totally BS. You need expertise. That's how all the stuff that makes our world great is done by experts, engineers and chemists and biochemists and biologists and physicians and scientists and psychiatrists. All of these people who are experts help make the world work. It is so stupid and ignorant. It's unbelievable. If they catch you to testify in Congress, we will come with you. You can sit up in the visitors area. That would be great. Give me some support. Post polio, yes, it's on the decline because, you know, in the heyday there were tens of thousands of cases, 300,000 cases a year of polio globally, maybe more, and now there's still too many, but orders of magnitude less. So yes, much less post polio, but not zero. Not zero. Oh, Dallas Buyers Club. It's not on HBO or Canopy. It's really good movie. It's really good. The show with Lex was pretty good, I think. Yeah. Visto, is post-polio and autoimmune or just aging with an already damaged nervous system? I believe it's the latter. So you lose so many neurons when you have polio. And then as you age, you lose neurons normally. And because you lost so many already with polio, you can't sustain it. And that's why you get paralyzed. Yeah. But that's a theory because nobody's really studied it. Yes, this is a good point. AI requires training sets. If we don't understand something, there will be no training set. It is impossible for AI to discover something. I was reading a very nice article in the New Yorker today about the use of AI in creative ventures like writing and screenplays and plays and art and so forth. And he was saying that you can get AI to write things, but it lacks heart. It lacks humanity. It's really dry, and that's something it will never have. And I thought that was really good. Yes. If you want your car fixed, you bring it to an expert, not someone, a heart surgeon, right? It's just ridiculous. John writes, Vincent is good on Lex. It's how I found Microbe TV and swung me out of the tailspin of misinformation. I stopped listening to Lex because too many problematic guests with no pushback. John, you're also smart. You understand what's going on. And it's not the case for many, many people who can't distinguish between misinformation, disinformation, and the real stuff. Yeah. Tom's mom passed 100 post-polio. I'm sorry about that. Yes, it's very tough. Yes, Barbara, the interview with Plotkin, he mentioned he feels personally hurt by the outlook on public health, all he worked toward all his life. The guy made vaccines, saved lots of lives, and these bozos are trying to reverse it. It's unbelievable. Here's the link for Lex Friedman and me. And what an era we are in, where reason and experience and logic are not useful at the highest levels of government. It's just crazy. Oh, cool, Tom. She taps out messages with a stylus. Still smart. That's great. Well, that's what she has, the brain, right? In the absence of other abilities, you focus on what you can do, which is think. That's really cool. Molly hopes to live to see all this turned around. You will, because it's not going to be that long. And as Tom said, that's the object. Okay. Markle, you should watch the quiz. It's really fun. Maybe you could take it because you could pause and see if you get the answer, because we did a nice Jeopardy quiz tonight. All right, folks, that'll do it for another office hours. I want to thank our moderators. We had Tom here tonight. We had Les. We had Vanity Nutrition. We had Barb Mac, UK. Thank you so much for being here and keeping it civil. Thanks all of you for coming. We had like 160 people here tonight. Had a lot of fun with the Jeopardy, the science Jeopardy. Going to do it again sometime. I really enjoyed that. So our next office hours will be next week. Hey, folks, August is finished. And even though the summer goes a couple more weeks, for me, the end of August is the end of summer. It's kind of bittersweet because, gosh, it goes so quickly because I love the weather. Anyway, September 3rd, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll have Dan Wilson debunk the funk here on Office Hours. You're not going to want to miss it. Jill is coming in just as we're saying goodbye. Try the quiz. You'll love it. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Until next week, be safe. Bye-bye.